What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 32. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Toves. How's it going, Toby?
All the podcasts in all the world, I had to walk into this one.
I realized when I was doing the intro that I was like shaking my head, like I was like a sassy announcer person, and no one can actually see me, so... I can.
When you're doing the intro, I have the file open and I was like, "Are we definitely on 32?" And then I panicked. So I thought we were on 33, and I thought you fucked up or I fucked up.
I got it right. I'm correct.
You did.
Yeah.
You are the most correct that you will ever be today.
I come correct. That is one thing that is a truism about me, Toby.
Is that what that's referencing?
Yep.
Being good at your podcast job.
Being good at, yeah, exactly. That's what that means. If you come correct, means you're good at your podcast job.
Hell yeah.
I also have news of my life, Toby. I almost died this weekend.
I passed it skipped me, and now it's on Dio.
I think so. I think I made fun of you and your karmic ways of getting your fingers chopped off, and now death has reached out its slimy grip, tried to literally put that grip around my throat, because so we went to visit my parents this weekend, and there's gonna be a lot in this story that is like, if you're not from America, this is gonna sound weird, but
it might even sound weird to me. Josh is one of those weird Midwest people.
Yeah,
where like from the East Coast, the dirtiest of coasts, I judge him as well. So this one, I'm excited to see how much of the story actually makes sense altogether.
So a lot of times in like rural America, there will be volunteer fire departments in your little small town, little tiny fire departments, and a lot of times these little tiny fire departments, as a means of making money, will hold fish fries. And that's like a big thing around here. Is like once a month the fire department has a fish fry, and everybody goes and buys fish sandwiches from the fire department. So while I was at my parents' house, there was a fish fry in my hometown at the fire department. So we went over and we had some fish. And I ate a fish sandwich, Toby. And after I got done eating my fish sandwich, I was like, I had this feeling that there was something like stuck in the back of my throat. Like it was like I couldn't quite get it like washed down, like by swallowing or kind of coughing, but I could tell there was something there, and it was bugging me. And I was like, I think I got something in my throat. I don't know what's going on. So like I tried to drink some more, and it wasn't working. Then I was like, maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But then I could feel it. There was something in there. So then it's like after we eat, and I still am like feeling like this, like, man, something is going on in there. I don't know what's happening. So I had my wife look in my throat. Like I didn't think she'd be able to see anything. We're just outside at a park, and I have her look in my throat, and she looks in and she sees wedged into my tonsils is a fishbone, Toby. So I literally have a fishbone stuck in my throat. And again, if you are from outside of America, you might be very used to like, oh, I have an emergency medical situation. I'm going to go to the ER where they deal with emergency medical situations. But in America, that's a costly thing to have to do, right? To go to the ER is expensive. No one wants to do it. And everyone wants to avoid, having to go to the doctor, having to go to the ER if at all possible. So
I want to point out already that your ailment issue, you just have her put like tweezers down your throat and yank it out.
Okay, so that's what we did.
Okay, good, because like, see, you're the reason. The hypothetical you. You're the reason that there's problems, because you're like, I can talk, I can breathe, my throat feels itchy. I'm gonna go to the emergency room. Like you would have sat there for like 12 hours, because when they're like, point to the pain face that shows how upset you are, and then be the guy has like a furrowed brow, and then the top one is like bawling because half his face is sliced off, and Josh will be like, oh, it's like a 2, I'm inconvenienced. And you would have sat there for like 12 hours.
How dare you? How dare you?
They would have laughed at you and charged you like $5,000 for the inconvenience.
They would have charged me like $5,000 for sure. How dare you belittle my conditions? How are you going to sit there and victim blame me? So yeah, that is what. So yeah, All right. But listen, if we couldn't get it out, what's my recourse? I have to go to the doctor, right? Like,
Well, yeah, but yes, like as my friend, I'm glad that you saw there was an issue and took action on it.
yeah.
I feel like this issue is a mild annoyance at best.
I mean,
You know what I'm
it was
saying?
more than
You
a
know what I'm saying?
mild annoyance. It was so all right. It's so far back there, but it's like
How big of a fishbone? How big of a fishbone?
so it's
Big enough Jesse, your wife could see it, right?
oh yeah. She could see it just looking in there. And so in my head, I'm like, she thinks it's a fishbone. She can see it. And so then I'm like, all right, well, we have to like get it out. Like I tried, so we go home. I tried a couple, like, I tried to gargle to get it out. It doesn't work. I tried to like, I tried to just like
There's a
spray
lot
stuff.
of home remedies for this.
I tried to like spray stuff. Yeah, that's what we were doing. It's full on home remedy. Like, what can we try? I tried to like spray water back there and I couldn't get it. So then I'm like, all right, so we have to like reach back there and grab it somehow. The other thing that's important to know about me is that my gag reflex is so incredibly high that sometimes the dentist triggers it just by normal dental cleaning. Like it is intense. If you remember, if you go to the dentist and they do x-rays where they have to like stick the big thing in the side of your mouth, just that causes me to gag. And like, it's a thing that has always been true about me ever since I was a kid. And like, I've tried really hard at the dentist to make that not a thing that happens constantly, but it's a thing, right? I gag really bad. Whenever I've been like tested for strep throat, that's always like a huge ordeal with me just because it's like, I can't keep from gagging and they have to like force the little swab down there far enough to get it to work.
That one's like, seems like cheating though. Cause like anyone that I feel like gets strep throat tested, that's like beyond, like if the normal base, like if your reflex is high and we say like half of that is a normal base level,
Yeah.
I think even normal base level reflex people are gagging when they jam the fucking like 7-foot Q-tip down your throat and like rubbing your itchy, disgusting throat, and they wait to do like the and then they're like, okay, we got you.
But most people can handle the tongue depressor holding their tongue down before the Q-tip goes in, and I cannot.
See, like I don't think I've ever once got tongue depressor.
Oh, okay.
They just go open and then stab.
Okay, yeah. So they realize quickly on me that they can't do it by just open stabby, because of the gagging. So then they do tongue depressor, and literally the tongue depressor is enough to cause me to gag. So it's bad. Anyway, it's bad. So we were trying to figure out what we had that could even reach back that far. And my dad is into like metal work, sort of. He makes rings and stuff. And he had just bought this new pair of like big giant like tweezer tongs. And he was like, well, we got these. And they were like the perfect size. So that's what we ended up using. And again, my gag reflex was so bad. We tried to do this probably like, I don't know, probably like 20 to 30 times. And like, she couldn't quite get it because I would gag every time. We tried it from different angles and different sides, and it was awful. And finally, she grabbed it and pulled it out, finally. And it was like this huge relief, like awful, a horrible experience is over. I was so relieved. And then she like holds it up, and I'm expecting like, I could feel it. It felt like a huge thing in my throat, but I'm expecting when we get it out, it's going to look like nothing, right? It's going to look like this tiny little thing. And we look at it, and it's like actually kind of big. Like it's not huge, but like it is, I don't know, maybe like half an inch. And then it actually like is hard. So like I was expecting again, like, well, maybe it's not as hard as I was expecting it to be. Like, no, you can like poke it, and it like actually is like very pokey and hard and kind of stabby. And it's like, holy crap. Like that, I'm lucky that it didn't like get lodged in my throat somewhere and stab me. But the fact that we could actually get it out was amazing. So yeah, that's my near death story, Toby. A fishbone stuck in my throat.
If she was making you gag while you were doing this, she needs to work on her Operation Game skills. Because I feel like if you just floated the forceps like purely down the middle, like shooting the missile in the Death Star tube thing, like if she could have got like pinpoint accuracy, I feel like you want to gag.
So that ended up being the strat that worked the most. Is like she went back as far as she could without touching my tongue, But then she still had to get past sort of the arc of where the tongue is to get to where she needed to grab. So there was no way to avoid the tongue touching with the tool that we had.
I got you.
So basically it was like she'd get in there and get set, like as far as she could go and get set. I'm breathing through my nose. And then she counts me down, 3, 2, 1. And then I know she's going to touch where the gag is going to start. I fight it as long as I can while she has like half of a second to try to grab. And then,
why didn't she lie? Like, you have a kid. Like, why wouldn't she go on like 2? So you weren't ready for it.
Because
Instead
she
of like
needed
saying
me
like,
to
Josh,
know.
here comes 3, here comes the airplane.
No, counting me down was helpful because then I could fight it for as long as I could, right? Like I could brace myself. I could like try to keep from gagging. But if she just like did throat stabby, it would have been all over from the very beginning. She wouldn't have had a window. She also at one point, with the tongs, grabbed my uvula, like grabbed it in between the tongs, which made a very sore throat for the rest of that evening. and even today, so this is like 2 days later, from all of the like all the gagging and all the like retching and stuff to we went through all of this, my whole like chest area is sore from kind of the inside out just from the amount of gagging. So yeah, it was a traumatic experience.
It does sound, it sounds like I'd like actually kind of traumatic and crappy. Will you eat fish fries from the fire department again?
I think I might be off fish for a long time in general. I was thinking about this afterwards.
So you did learn something.
Yeah. I think I learned that I'm just not eating fish anymore ever again. Or at least, you know, until like it's years later. So it's going to be a long time, I think, until I like can talk myself into it again.
Well, just don't do like the homemade stuff. Like fish sticks, that kind of stuff, you're probably good.
Well, yeah.
But trusting people just apply for a job to cook you fish, something that can make you sick in general, and to debone it properly, I feel like that's where the real fault is.
But I'm not trusting anyone that's going to make me like, aside from, like you said, like a super processed like fish stick, like that's probably fine. But like anything else, like if it's like, you know, a fish fry or a restaurant or whatever, it's like, what if I trust anyone to catch every single bone from here on out? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Which, should we go against the fire department now? Should we rally? Should we take them down?
Yeah. Fuck the thin
They
red
could have killed
line.
you. They could have killed you.
They could have killed me. You know what? I'm gonna stop supporting. You know what? I'm gonna be pro fire from here on out, I think.
I'm gonna set fire to my house and be like, "Fuck you guys! You can't put it out."
It's not even the same.
That's what I think.
It's not even the same fire department. It's a fire department 2 hours from here.
That's even worse. You can't trust these people.
I can't. No. And I never will again. That's what we learned here.
The other ideas for the home remedy things that I saw while you were telling me your treacherous tales of tail boning. Drinking vinegar. I guess the acid is strong enough to like it softens the fishbone. It comes out.
Okay.
Wet bread, because it gets like mushy and sticks to the bread and goes out.
I was scared to attempt to eat anything else because I thought that then I might like literally like clog my throat, which was probably not a reasonable fear. But it's like there's already something caught back there. What if I eat more and more gets caught? Like that seemed terrifying.
I probably would have back and forth on that, but it was basically like any, other than the acid, it basically says like any sticky food. It was like one's like bananas, this is like helpful tips for everyone at home.
Yeah, this is good.
Bananas, wet bread, which sounds disgusting, peanut butter / peanut butter sandwich, because again, like sticky glue, get it out of there. But yeah, it just seems like, it basically seems like the solution to like something's jammed in my throat is jam more things down your throat and hope it breaks the claws.
Yeah, that doesn't, I mean, like I get the logic there, but that it does seem scary to implement, you know, if you're the person. So I had this stuck in my throat for maybe like 2 hours total. And we probably spent like 30 to 40 minutes trying to get it out. And in that time, so I was like, you know, obviously like I'm a little preoccupied with what's happening. So I randomly had like orange that we got when we were at the fish fry. So I'm like trying anything. The first thing that comes to mind when we're like outside is to gargle it. That was the very first thing. I was like, I'm going to gargle it out of here. So like without really like looking around my surroundings, I take a big swig of the orange soda, I gargle it like a madman, and then I like bend over and like spit it all back out. And as soon as I look up, our like elderly next door neighbor is in her yard, like waving, saying hello. I'm like, hi, I'm being really weird right now. I'm sorry. I'm just gargling orange soda in front of her. I'm like the weirdest Stone Cold impersonator in the world. But yeah. And I kept the little fishbone in a bag so I could keep it forever as like a souvenir.
That's funny you mentioned that, because the other thing like flies out of people's bodies. A lot of people keep kidney stones.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the logic. Like, I know the doctor will give them to you if they have to like break them, extract them, all that kind of stuff. I don't know why you would keep them. But it's just a horrible reminder of this could have taken me out.
My mom actually had a kidney stone and got to keep hers. I don't know if she still has them now, but like I remember getting to see them afterwards. And yeah, they're gross. You don't want to. That broke me of ever probably wanting to keep them if I ever have a kidney stone, because it's the most disgusting looking thing that I've ever seen. It's just this horrible little like stabby ball, and just it's awful. Yeah. I think the idea of keeping a kidney stone, especially like I went through this horrible war and now I have this to show for it. Like, look at my trophy. Look at my look at this thing that I won to get through this.
It's the weird human condition of you're proud of things that come out of your body and you just want to show them off.
Yeah, kidney stones, kids, it's all the same. Yeah, it all checks out. Toby, we're here not to talk about me dying. That is a thing that we can talk about. We're also here to talk about Kamen Rider. And one of the places that we talk about Kamen Rider is over on our Patreon. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. $3 a month gets you access to all of our bonus content that we put out. Usually a couple shows a week that we are watching and reacting to, and you get to watch along with us. Super fun. You also get access to our Discord. You can hang out with us all week long. And yeah, we love chatting and hanging out there for $3 a month over on the Patreon. Excuse me. I have another bone in there, apparently. And Toby, the other thing that this podcast is here to do is talk about Kamen Rider on the actual show, not just on the Patreon. And today we're going to talk about Gavv episode 32. And this is the finale, I guess, the second part of the Hanto Rakia become best friends saga.
This was the highly demanded by me last week of, I thought the team was fixed. Let's get these crazy kids back.
Yeah. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Well, we opened, they are they had just realized that the brother of Rakia was potentially killed by the Granute that they were fighting because of the slash marks, which again we talked about last time. You know, not that huge of a clue, probably. I don't know. It seems like you'd have that same slash mark lots of times if you have a slashing Granute, but whatever. He was pretty convinced.
I feel like they did a better job, at least specifically to the point of last time. I was trying to figure out if it was like specifically like the tree scarred or something weird, like literally with the tree. I took the little moment a little too specifically. So I do feel a little bit better that at least he confirmed today that, oh, the wide blade swath looks just like how the cut that was on my brother. Yep. So for the stupid people like me, I do feel like that helped confirm some of my actual concerns last week of what the hell are we doing here? How is this helping you put these pieces together?
Yeah, they made it much more apparent what he was seeing.
And before we get too far off the intro, so just in general, every week they have someone do the recap. I feel like most times it's Shoma, unless it's a different person specifically driven episode. And it always, mostly the last time on Kamen Riders for any of the shows, like when we watch O's, we just make fun of it or we block stuff out and it's no big deal. I was impressed this week because when Hanto was doing it for a recap of him and Laga 9's friendship, basically. And like his first line is, the pudding jerk and I had things to do. and I appreciated the very specifically like narrator coded intro, and not just like last week he and I did this. It was that pudding jerk and I thought that's a wonderful touch that stuck out way more than a lot of the other ones
Yeah,
did.
it's really cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, that was a little fun intro there. And then like the end where they all are in the office and they're like picking at each other is also like, it feels very real. It feels like you would with your friends. Toby, when Rakia realizes, he makes a connection that Kamel's maybe the his killer is maybe this Granute. He's very angry. He has an emotional outburst, and he's mean to Sachiko on the phone, which doesn't seem like the right thing.
You did get snippy. He did get very snippy.
Yeah, which is the most that he's ever like showed emotion up to this point. He's normally like Mr. Laid Back guy, and he's snippy with Sachika, and he's like he doesn't like Hanto, and he storms off.
Tired of all these people's bullshit already, as he should be probably.
Yeah, you know, well earned, I think. You know, the thing I liked about last episode was when he's like actually lists out the things that he's mad about Hanto for. It's like, all right, dude's got receipts. Let's go.
Yeah, it's all still festering. It's like any good fight. Or even like after like you feel it all build up. You're like, fuck you, fuck this, blah blah blah. You rattle off your list of things, and there's times where like you just don't feel better. Still, you're like, I've got like 95% of the steam out. There's still a little bit left. Just say one more dumb thing to me. That's all I need.
just
let me finish this stew.
Just one more. Give me one more. Hanto tries to calm him down, but Hanto's got an injury, and then we of course find out that Rakia also has an injury. It was cool that like Hanto had been aware enough that Rakia had been injured, because he goes and like pulls up a sleeve. And he's like, you might be a Granute, but you're not invincible or whatever. I thought that was cool.
He nicely rubbed his little hand and was like, "Hey, buddy, I'll nurse you back to health too."
I also like that of all, like their bodies look okay, their faces and stuff look okay, but like one has a bunch of blood specifically on his heel, and one has a bunch of blood specifically on one spot on his arm. Those are the only parts that got injured.
Yeah, remember that brutal battle where they were both shook to their cores.
Absolutely shook. So they head off to go tend to their wounds. We also then cut over to Shoma and Lascelles, and they're out on a little date, we'll say.
He's basically playing Alice in Wonderland with either the evil queen or the Mad Hatter, or it's kind of hard to tell, but probably the queen.
Yeah, I think that's a good reference for it, because she's like attempting to be cute, but like it's very clear from all the things that she is doing here that she has this incredibly warped sense of what is cute and what is beautiful, and she likes ugly, disastrous, horrible things. Like that's what's beautiful to her, and
it's my kind of girl. It's my kind of girl. Love the disaster. That is me.
And like it makes her kind of terrifying here, because you realize just how effed up she really is, I guess, is really what it boils down to. And you realize like, oh, she's got this huge, crazy, deep darkness. Like you knew she was like evil, but she's evil.
And like, it's funny because at least from like the happier standpoint of that, when she got her delicious pancakes and just mushed all the colors and sauces together to make like a swirly purple, I felt that. I was like, that's the same way I would play with this food too.
Yeah. What if it was just all like meshed together and just made this nasty color? So he's like, yeah, give me that meal.
It's really more just playing with the food. I think would entertain me more than like I could get past the flavors once I made my own mess. But it's really just the very, I don't know the right word for it. Like old-timey days, like, oh, I'm going to eat with my hands because I feel more attached to the meat kind of deal. There's some fancy word for that. It's escaping me at the moment.
It's visceral.
I get it's close to that, but it's close.
Okay.
It's close.
So during this little meal, we find out that really her interest in Jeep is his agony, I guess, his pain. Because at one point she talks about like like Shoma's goals. And she's like, so if we keep producing the dark treats, you're still gonna keep antagonizing Jeep and the rest of his family. And Shoma's like, yeah, like I'm gonna take you down. And she's like, okay, good. So like she wants Jeep to suffer at the hands of Shoma, and that's what she's looking for specifically.
But see, she loves him for his pain, Josh. That's all everyone ever looks for.
But only for his pain. It's not like she loves him through his pain. It's like, that's the thing I'm going for. I need more pain. At one point, she attempts to even like shoot somebody that they're having lunch next to. She like points her umbrella at them because she's like, humans, they're so weak. Who cares?
You guys are smushy.
Yeah. So I think overall they do just an amazing job of making her seem like really terrifying here. Like you said, in like a, White Queen, Mad Hatter sort of way, a very crazed evil persona. Then of course we cut back over to Rakia and to Hanto, and they're over in Suga's old place. So Rakia's been hanging out there. Hanto knows where all the first aid kit and everything is, and they start to bond here as they start to patch up their wounds. And eventually Rakia explains the whole deal with the brother and kind of what's going on. And I think this is very cute, this whole scene, because Hanto, I think he handles it really, really well. Like he hears the story and he's like, okay, yeah, he doesn't react too much. And then kind of like as they're done, he's like, it doesn't really matter, that your brother, whatever happened to him, but it does sound like your brother was like a really awesome dude because he fought the power of the dark confections and, he was trying to give it all up. So like he must have been pretty great. He knew exactly what to say in this case.
Hanto took the respectable adult path out of, like he could have not said anything and they might have started getting along again, but you don't know. But like he took the adult thing of like, yo buddy, like no matter what, your brother sounds pretty kick ass, right? Like he's dead. I'm not gonna besmirch the dead. I'm not gonna say like, wow, he shouldn't have been dead to drugs at all. He's like, he was kind of like a shining example in the dark confection zone of, no, you can do him and get away from him. It wasn't his fault that someone killed him because he stopped dealing. That's just that person's problem kind of thing.
And Hanto to this point has seemed like the type of person that would be more the like, well, he never should have done it in the first place. He deserved what he had coming, right? He seems like that sort of black and white type character. So yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of growth there in Hanto, kind of like being able to understand the grays and, not everybody's all the same. And, sometimes people fall and then, are still good people. And Hanto even in this talks about at one point kind of references like, well, like Granute and humans aren't so different after all, like kind of a thing. Which is like the complete opposite of where he had been, kind of, right? Like, all Granutes are evil, they all have to die, and now he's like, yeah, we're all just trying to make it.
Yeah.
So
he's definitely calmed down. He's mellowed out with his undying hatred of all things Granute.
Yeah, he really has. So, and it was cool to see that happen, not with a Shoma heart to heart, but with Rakia, like that. He's making another friend, and kind of even like weirdly a deeper connection than maybe he even has with Shoma at this point, because they realize that like, oh, we both lost loved ones to the stomach family. Wow, we're very similar.
Yeah, like their brokenness is more tied. I mean, I guess Shoma did too, but like Shoma, for all of his greatness, he's still kind of like he's the bubbly hero character who doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Like he gets over everything, he deals with everything, and he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. And like these two line up more on their pains of like, no, like it bothers me. Plus, like I'm suffering like freaking crazy still. It's not just like, oh yeah, my mom died, but these candies are good. I'm gonna go pet a dog today. See you guys later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they, have a heart to heart and kind of clearly come to a place where they kind of have at least a respect for each other. And along the way in this scene, again, things get pretty steamy, Toby. If this show sometimes feels like it's like designed just to give bait to like slash fan fiction writers. Because yet again, we have two men arguing where one of them pushes the other one over the table and like bends over him angrily in like a darkly lit room. They shoot it as if they're about to kiss the entire scene. It's unmistakable what they're hinting at here. I think I think it's just too far for it to not be at least somewhat intentional.
I think Kamen Rider Gavv's giving Josh an awakening. He wants to write slash fic about his Kamen Rider smooching.
I'm gonna go look it up right now and see how much there is. Archive of our own right now. I guess this is also only like the English version, but you know, that's what I can read anyway.
Yeah. Josh is looking things up.
Because this is important. We have to know, Toby. We have to know. All right.
Just get.
What are the characters' name? We want Shoma / no, not Shoma. We want Hanto / Rakia. Is that here? Where is this at? How do websites, Toby?
You're failing.
No, I'm doing great. Oh, his name's not Rakia, it's Rage 9. All right, there's already a bunch. The most recent one is called Jello Shot.
I don't want to know.
Rage 9 has chosen the club to collect human presses. The humans were already half full of happiness anyway. All he had to do was add a bit more, and they were ripe for pressing.
No, see, this is the dark timeline. You can't write him being evil.
Unfortunately, he comes across a human who's investigating the number of disappearances. Worse yet, it seems like Rage 9 can't press him. Oh, but he tries to press him, Toby. He tries.
All right, let's go on with the episode. I've heard enough.
All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and bookmark all this real quick.
There you go.
No, so yeah, there's some undertones there. There's some undertones. We also another thread in this episode, Toby, is Uncle Dente gets a visit from Nielv. They have tracked him down. He's the traitor. They want to.
Yeah, they finally cracked down the traitor.
They did. They want to, which makes sense. Like, you're not gonna like just let him out there just like creating drivers for that long, right? He shows up and invites Dente back to the Stomach family. Dente politely declines, I guess we'll say. And Nielv leaves, but he leaves a dark confection box. So, do we think that Dente is going to get hooked on the dark confections?
He's trying to. He traded them potato chips for candy. That seems like a fair switch.
Did he? Did they do a trade?
Yeah, because there was the empty, like he didn't directly trade, but there was the crinkled up potato chip bag that Pidgey stole on the way out quietly. So obviously he took the potato chips for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume to make more evil, Dark Shoma type things, but he definitely stole potato chips.
Yeah, it has to be something to do with like cloning Shoma or whatever, right? It's got to be something along those lines.
Yeah. Chocolate covered chips coming soon.
Do you think they're going to kill Dente?
I feel like he's been too helpful for everyone else where they can't, but I've been wrong before. Like I didn't think the all three Abyssal sisters would die last season, and they all did. So I would hope no. We're pretty close to the end. He's survived this far. And it seems like if Nielv is stealing things from him for use cases, I think he might be okay.
I think Dente's dead as fuck. I think they're gonna kill him for sure.
That's sad.
I think that they're gonna use him as the like, you know, motivating factor for whatever for Shoma. There's gonna be something that happens. He's gonna find Dente's dead body.
Oh no.
But it'll be okay because then that'll be the resolve he needs to come back and win the day.
I guess that's true. It could be.
Because think about it, now Dente is like he's like friends with Rakia now too. Like they've sort of made up, right? Like they've put him in a place where he's helped all three guys, and all three of them would kind of be sad if he died now. Which tells me that it's time to kill him. That's how you write stories, right?
Yeah.
We get to see the Rakia and Hanto come together and work on fighting the Granute that they finally track down. Come to find out, this Granute doesn't really seem to actually have had anything to do with the brother's death, but
he stupidly made the comments, "You're gonna have to kill me if you want to find out if I had anything to do with it or not." Tee hee hee, and that just snapped the shit out of Login 9 to be like, okay, well then I'm gonna
Yeah, he's
kill
like,
you
well, I
too.
guess I will. Okay, thank you for.
You signed the contract for the title match, and now I'm taking the title.
If you don't give up Dark Confessions, well, actually, I'm going to kill you either way. That's what's going to happen here. It was a cool fight. They were like on like scaffolding and stuff at one point. That was pretty cool. He like drove him through multiple levels of the scaffolding. Like, it continues to be very unique, cool, haven't seen it before choreography in this show. And yeah, hasn't slowed down yet, which is impressive.
Yeah, the two good ones were one of them were hanging kind of bat-like over the top of the scaffolding, like one-handed reaching underneath the fight. And then we did like a pole vault, but in reverse, where like he launched the person with the pole instead of using the pole to launch himself.
Yeah, right. And then the big finish here is that the Granute can still shoot that mucus stuff. It was the stuff that hooked their hands together last time around. And Hanto basically works as a human shield to get all of the mucus sprayed just on him until the monster is completely out of mucus. And then Rakia can jump in and take him out the rest of the way as we described. And I love Hanto's just like straight ahead plan of like, nope, we're just gonna get all the mucus on me. He didn't even know that the monster could run out of mucus. His whole plan is just be in the way.
He's an investigator, man. He could have known.
You think so? You think he'd done his work ahead of time?
Yeah, like I think the cool thing too is like he basically tanked to get covered with all the mucus.
Yeah.
And just kept telling Loggy 9 like, look, man, if we're gonna commit to this, like I'm taking the hits for you now. Let's just do this. Like you got this. You want to avenge your brother. Whether or not he killed your brother, we'll figure that out too. But he's like, I'm taking these shots though. Like let's do this. Pull your head out of your ass. Go get him.
Yeah, exactly. And it works, and they do it. I liked the very good use of Rakia's, you suck in this. His little catchphrase of like where he says you suck or this sucks. He used it very affectionately toward Hanto a couple times here, of just like, yeah, I'll help you with your wounds. Like, oh, you suck. And then there's one later on where he's like, like, well, okay, I guess you can. I guess we're both good at this, or I guess we can help each other out. It's like, you suck. I thought that was cute that they were able to like utilize that in a couple different ways. Shoma shows up at the very end of the fight to see them, and then we all head back to the headquarters, and they have some pudding. Rakia has brought delicious pudding snacks.
Pudding for the whole class.
He did. He brought so many. And they're having their little bickers back and forth as they do, but they're clearly all on very good terms now. And in a beautiful moment that I absolutely loved, Sachika comes over to Rakia kind of to thank him for the pudding, and he very, very politely apologizes to her about being short with her on the phone. Like, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And it was so cool. I love that she demands enough respect in their lives that he's not just going to ignore that he was mean to her on the phone, even though she's acting normal to him. He's going to apologize, right? Like, that's pretty cool.
That was good. And then even like tied to that, just to keep it not too serious, but obviously serious, whatever else. Right away, Hanto is like, wait, you just told me I sucked and you apologized to her? And he's like, yeah, she's the boss. That's what happens.
Yeah, he's like, why did she get an apology and not me? And he's like, yeah, why her and not you? Why her and not you? He just keeps saying it over and over again. Like, it's ridiculous that he would even ask that. It's really good. I love I think Shoma and Hanto, their relationship is like mutual respect, and they really care about each other and everything. And I love that Rakia and Hanto's relationship is like lovingly antagonistic now. They still don't see 100% eye to eye, but they're buds still. It's fine.
I liked the little metaphorical affixing of the salt and pepper shakers that were broke last episode. that one was knocked over when they zoomed out, and then with like 80s comedy movie, hey, here's the ending, here's how everyone succeeds 20 years down the road. Shoma figuratively like winks at the camera, sets the salt and pepper shakers back standing together, and just walks away in the episode.
Yeah, it's very cute. So, I think overall, I agree with your point last week of like, hey, I thought we were like already friends. I don't know why we needed another, 2-episode arc just for these two, even though I thought we were already there. I think they really stuck the landing here. I really enjoy the arc that they went on. I think their like heart to heart scene was really, really well done. And I think we ended up like this scene where they're all buds here at the end felt very earned, in a way that it probably wouldn't have like 2 episodes ago. So
that now we can finally go fight the real evils. I think all the infighting should definitely be done now.
Yeah.
At worst, like you said, Uncle Dente gets boiled for real now. He's not just chewy soft. He's going to be the hard, mushy boiled to death or whatever. And then that's either like the last inciting incident or from Shoma's tea party today. That's going to be the incident of like, okay, yeah, we have to finish the fight here. We got to finish this stuff off.
They're going to throw Dente against the wall and he's going to stick.
There you go.
And we do get one final scene in the Granute world in the president's, big mansion estate. And basically it's just a quick little check-in on the fact that he has that the politician guy that we saw before, hopelessly addicted to dark treats. And to the point where he's like, I'll do anything. And the president's like, oh, good. Then just do as this man says. And then we have Niel walk out. So who knows what he's going to get that guy to do, but like hook, line, and sinker is exactly as expected. He's addicted and will do anything he needs to.
So the one thing with the ending, when the politician guy, whatever, walked over and was like, oh, look at this fine specimen, talking about Pidgey, they explained that he was a human.
Yeah.
So are we establishing that he's actually a human and not
I don't think so.
A Granute like the rest of them?
I think because he has the belt and everything.
Right, but so does Hanto.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I think he's just in his human disguise.
So only because they made the weird conversation and comment.
It
like
was
that,
weird, yeah.
I think he's actually a human that's just there, much like Hanto, because he's also the one that was pushing Suga to figure out how to make the drivers together.
That's true.
To make Hanto a thing. So I think the swerve is going to be that Pidgey was a human all along, and they gave it away this week, obviously, with their kind of blatant, oh, he's just a human, don't worry about it conversation.
That could be. Yeah, I read it just as like he'd never even seen a human disguise before, but yeah, it totally could be that Nielv is actually a real human. Their familial relations are already very strange. So, yeah, who's to say that one of them couldn't actually just be a human?
Yeah, that's what's going to be. I'm calling it
now.
All
right, we're going to have
stamping it.
Dead Uncle Dente and human Nielv. Everyone write those down. We'll see if they're right. We do have, I'm going to jump over to emails here because there's a lot of information, I think, in the producer's blog. Shade sent us some information. So our email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. You can send us emails about anything that you want, questions, information. Do you want to just you talk about your day? That's also fine too. Send those emails our way. We got a couple emails this week. And as I mentioned, first one comes in from our friend Shade. Shade says, dead relatives are a surprisingly good topic to bond over. So, yeah, we found out.
I mean, it does seem fair.
Yeah. I think that's true in real life, yeah. Shade says, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shoma shooting stuff out of his stomach and mouth, and it looks really weird. Let's check out some Toku news from last week. Ultraman fandom is excited because Ultraman Omega, the trailer, has just been released for the next Ultraman series. Shade says, I know you guys aren't exactly Ultraman fans yet, but I hope you'll check this one out once it comes out. I'm aware that it's very different from the normal Toei tokusatsu, that you guys are familiar with, but Ultraman's very entertaining once you treat it as a sci-fi show like Star Trek, but with the Doctor from Doctor Who as the protagonist instead. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I'm like on the cusp of getting into Ultraman. I'm always on the cusp of getting into Ultraman. I've liked what I've seen of Ultraman. That's just not very much. I haven't seen very much. So who knows? Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's Ultraman Kenny Omega that'll get me there. Shade says, yeah, that's all the news and announcements we have from the past week. Let's check out the producer's blog. So in talking about Shoma's date with Lizelle, the blog says, this scene truly symbolizes the character of Lizelle. Her actions and words show her eccentric aesthetic sense, from calling Jeep, who's suffering from because of his other half has been erased, cute, to calling the pancake sauce cute when it's sloppy. Sloppy pancakes. It was the director's idea for Lizelle to uproot the colorful flowers on the cafe terrace, and combined with the color-corrected tones of the image, it created an eerie impression. The blog mentions that the CGI backgrounds for the past couple episodes were done under the supervision of director Kami Horiuchi. He has a lot of experience working on scenes with CG environments during his time on King Oger, as you know, Toby, a series that's heavily used green screen.
Garbage episode series, whatever.
Shade says, fun fact, you might not think this is very fun. Toei and Sony collaborated with each other to open a studio just to film King Oger. They had a bunch of green screen sets with LED backgrounds and everything. You know, I respect King Oger for like trying that, and like I like that they went all in on it, but it just looks bad. I'm with you. Like the last couple episodes, the Stomach Family backgrounds have looked like garbage. It's fine because it's otherworldly and the Granute world's so strange, and like I'm willing to overlook it, and it doesn't affect my enjoyment of the show at all. But like for that to be your like big crazy filming advance that you're so proud of and you bring in a special guy for, that's lame. It's not good enough for that. If it was just like, this is the best we can do and we're doing our best, like that's great. I'm fine with that. But if it's like, hey, we have a special studio and we're super proud, then it's not so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. It's like, if you're being scrappy and stuff, I don't care. But like, it's just a weird thing to brag about because they don't look that amazing. Shade says, a funny story about the dark treat props. Apparently the dark treats were so dense they couldn't cut properly with a knife on set. We've seen them before, like where they like are biting into them and stuff and kind of tearing them apart, but I guess we had a batch that were just a little too thick. The director had to heat up a knife in order to cut the treats, and there's a cool behind the scenes photo of that happening. Looks like we're getting really into some hard drugs.
Yeah, like the weird behind the scenes. I mean, obviously it's almost any show, but like I feel like because of how simple, goofy this show is, I guess we'll call it, the behind the scenes things always make me laugh. Like the one last week of Log 9 getting like a blow dryer to the face because he got all the dust in his face and everything. Like obviously it's the solution, and that's probably on any set where they're like, oh, like we don't really have time for you to take a shower real quick. Do you mind if we just blow dryer your face to get the shit off? Yeah, sure, whatever kind of thing. But it's just funny that like the real basic level things of like, look how we heat a knife to cut things. Like that does just make me laugh.
It is good, yeah. Next, they talked about why Dente's cave was green screen in this episode instead of filmed on location. Usually, Dente's cave is shot on location, decorated with props, but in order to reduce the cost and time of going to location and decorating it, we tried live compositing it on a green screen. It may have been an extremely difficult task to shoot such a long scene with live compositing, but director Kama Haruchi, who is also well-versed in live compositing, was able to film the scene between Dente and Nielve without going to location. They're big on this director. They're like, he must be their boss or something. Whoever wrote this producer's blog, he's just like, he's standing over their shoulder right now. He's like, say I'm good again. Tell him how good I am.
You know I love it.
Say the CG looks good. One more time. Add it in there. Next up, the blog focuses more on Hanto and Rakia. Shade says the person who wrote the blog said something really out of pocket under this picture. And it's a picture of like Hanto leaning back slightly, Rakia holding him by the shoulders, slightly leaning over him. It looks a little romantic. Apparently the caption,
all you people with this romance.
Apparently the caption was a still of the two of them. Looking at this photo alone makes me feel a little excited. Now, granted, excitement, the translation for excitement might not have the same connotation as you funnel it through a language barrier, but that's still fun. The set of the fight scene was built right behind their filming studio. You might wonder why inside a film studio, but there are many benefits to filming inside of a film studio that is usually used as a base, such as reduced travel time, reduced location usage fees, and more time for preparation, so they can kind of set up and leave stuff set up. The great thing about director Kami Horiyuchi is that he makes it look like a film studio without making it feel like a film studio, instead making use of the terrain to make it look effective.
Is there like emojis of someone like winking SOS as this letter is typed?
Yeah, if you need to be rescued from director Kami Horiyuchi, just type uwu and we'll send help. Due to the nature of the action scenes, which require a vast amount of space, the action scenes are often set in flat areas such as wilderness or plains. But this time, based on the director and action director's wishes, they wanted to show a three-dimensional feel. So they built that steel scaffolding we talked about earlier. The directorial intent was perfectly realized, and they were able to realize three-dimensional action with unlimited movement in all directions that's not usually seen. The scene where Vram corners the Granute while breaking through the scaffolding is breathtakingly beautiful. They spent a lot of time on the action scenes and preparations. There were even days where they only did rehearsals. The enthusiasm of the entire staff and cast, who were united in their determination to shoot some amazing footage, was palpable on set. Shade says, that's it for today's producer's blog, although when I showed you guys the new indie Toku project last time, Josh activated a sleeper agent in my brain with one sentence. Quote, I can't believe there aren't more people out here that are making tokusatsu outside of Japan. Shade says, oh boy, this will be a surprise to you, my friend. Many have tried. Throughout the years, there have been varying attempts at creating tokusatsu outside of Japan, mostly with the Henshin Hero line because kaiju films are expensive. And then he links a whole bunch of them. We've got France 5. It's a great name. The France 5. Sport Ranger came out of Thailand. Some more popular ones are Legend Heroes from Korea. I've watched a bit of that one, actually.
You know too much.
Bim Satria Garuda from Indonesia. I've also watched, I think, the first episode of that one. The Armor Heroes are from China. Shade says that one's special because it's the only tokusatsu franchise outside of Japan that's still ongoing. The franchise was created by two guys who were huge fans of Kamen Rider. They wanted to create the Chinese equivalent. And the franchise has been ongoing for 20 years with 6 series and 3 movies. So that's kind of cool. The Armor Heroes are no longer on YouTube, but the newest Armor series, Armor Hero Star Ray, is available via fan subs on YouTube. So that's cool. Shade says, so to answer your question as to why there aren't more people making tokusatsu outside of Japan, well, the issue is always ultimately money.
It's always
freaking money. Just need the money, man. You'll notice that in all the series I listed above, even the ones that were picked up by legit TV studios, they often were just for 1 or 2 seasons, which means they did well, just not that well. In fact, even Armor Heroes, the only franchise that's still standing, has nearly gone bankrupt multiple times, which is crazy because their merch is nearly on par with Kamen Rider's merch, the DX toys at least. So the problem isn't that there aren't people out there who want to make more independent toku. It's more that nobody has figured out how to make it a stable business without the help of big toy companies like Bandai or Hasbro, etc. Unlike Kamen Rider or Sentai, these shows genuinely do not know what season would be their last. Yeah, I don't know if there's a chance to do... I don't know if you could ever figure out how to do a successful toku show, like a superhero toku show, without massive toy connection. Like that's sort of has been the point in most of them. And if you made them like we make them now, they probably wouldn't do well in whatever country unless you also were selling crazy toys too. Like
I feel like this is the point of all of them at this point. Like I forget, I think it was during the Great Presentation of last year, or some combination of those kind of things. Like the TV show / movies are effectively the loss leader to try to sell the super toys. Like the toys is the thing. The show is just like a 20-minute commercial every week.
Yeah, in the grand tradition of like G.I. Joe from our youth, it's like
so like that's. I guess it's the same thing. Like when you're smaller, you don't have the built-in name where you're like, oh, I'll just watch this show / there's gonna be toys here. It's, well, you need to, like, they're doing it backwards where Toei's like, okay, we're selling little collectible foodstuffs this year, figure out the show. And then places are like, okay, we have this cool show, maybe we'll sell some toys off of it. And then like they're failing on both fronts, or not. It's not sustainable on both fronts. It's just a different thing.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider's grandfathered into the toy business. And all these other places are trying to get some space on the shelf.
Pretty much, yeah. And when you think about toys that are doing well here, in the States, it's like, you walk through the toy aisle and it's like, you do have like established old brands that you see. So like your stuff like your Barbie, your Hot Wheels, even into things like, Tech Deck will always be around now just because that's like, it's been around forever. But then like the other stuff that's like not those big brands, it's like you have Marvel stuff because there's always Marvel movies coming out and kids are watching Marvel movies. You've got, DC in the same way. But like it mostly is, stuff that is tied to like cartoons in a lot of cases. Like when there's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, we get to see a bunch of turtle toys and stuff come through. So you need like someone big enough that can produce toys on a massive scale to get them in a Target that also needs a property. And most of the time there's like going to be ample properties to make deals with that you can have done that are like, I don't know, but probably are easier to reproduce than a, live acted Toku style show would be. It's easier to make a cartoon or whatever than it would be to get people in and film something. Toys are an interesting business. And selling toys is a weird, interesting business too. I'll shout out a YouTuber that I really like that has a lot of thoughtful videos, I think, about the toy industry. His name's Jet Kuso. So if you like sort of like introspection on toys and sort of what it means to play and to collect and stuff like that, he's got a bunch of cool videos there. So we've got one more email this week. This comes in from Jordan. Jordan has written in before to talk about O's. And once again, that is what Jordan is writing about.
Oh, no.
You and I are working our way through O's for the Patreon. Once again, patreon.com/thecommentwriters. If you want to check that out, we're getting close to the end. You can catch up and you can watch O's with us and finish out strong if you want for $3 a month.
As of today, this recording, as everyone is hearing, I'm pretty sure Josh and I will finally be finishing O's this week, like on our end. And then for all the people to hear it, it's a little bit different timing. But I think the national nightmare is almost over until the next nightmare begins.
You've been loving O's. Shut up. You've liked.
I'm not going to forget all these slights against me. Josh, if someone punched me in the face for 30 hours straight, and then for the last hour was like, I'll just stop punching you. I'll see you later, though. Like, I'm not going to forgive the first 30 hours of punching. I'm just going to say the punching stopped.
Yeah, but it's not that they stopped punching you and then just like set and stopped punching you. It's like they were punching you for 30 hours and then they just started jerking you off. And you're like, okay, well, this is an improvement, Like maybe you'd forget about the punching then. Who knows?
I don't buy into this comparison.
I'm just saying it didn't go from horrible to neutral. It like swung for all the way from horrible to like pretty good, actually. Really?
Kamen Rider show.
Well, Okay, we'll see. I guess how it rakes out here at the end. But like, I think I'm liking what it's putting down so far lately. But I agree. The first 30 hours of punching were not so much fun. Jordan says, "Hey guys, it's been a while since my last email. I was waiting for Puto Taira to debut so I could talk about it, and Shauta at the same time. Man, I'm gonna have to say a lot of animal combos in this email. I can already tell."
Tatoba.
I was planning on talking about the other Ankh. He is officially referred to as Lost Ankh.
But wait, who's the other Ankh?
I think the little kid. I'll keep reading. The thing about him is that he's made up of Ankh's remaining metals and the body he left behind after he was sealed. Since Ankh's main core metal, the one that held his consciousness, was sealed away within the kin, when Kogami found his mummified body and removed one of the metals, it created desire in them to be whole, and they formed a new consciousness, just like when the metals were first created. In this case, his new personality is that of a little boy who wants his other arm back. So, yeah, the little boy was Lost Ankh. Little lost boy.
So far, acceptable O's information.
Next, let's talk about the purple metals and subsequently their combo, Puto Taira, also known as the Invincible Combo. It's made up of Terra, Tricera, and Tyranno core metals. One thing to note is that Puto Taira is that it has a white undersuit beneath the armor instead of a black one like every other combo. This is to represent that these metals were made as the antithesis to the other metals, and why it can destroy them. There was shown when Ankh tried to grab them when they came out of Edgy, bringing up what Kogami told the others after the metals fused with Edgy. These metals respond to a lack of desire, nothingness. It's why Edgy is capable of becoming O's without going mad like the king. The energy of the metals simply funnels through him. On the other side, Dr. Maki becomes the Kyoryu dinosaur greed, is now capable of making yummies based on dinosaurs and mythical creatures, i.e. the pterodactyl and unicorn yummies. These yummies are spawned from inanimate objects since they don't have any desire. When a purple yummy is destroyed, they only release one cell metal, the one that was used to create them. Interestingly, there was a purple yummy in the movie Kamen Rider Cross Kamen Rider O's and Double featuring Skull, Movie War Core. Movie War Core is a great subtitle. Where we also saw a sneak peek of Tajador and Goto as Birth. Although this movie is generally accepted as being non-canon. Finally, we have Metagabryu, the axe cannon of death, and this form's personal weapon. This is the only thing from this form that can be used by the other forms, allowing them to execute ice-powered slashes, as Puto Taira is the only form capable of handling the finishing move of the cannon mode, the Straying Doom. This forms them is called Power to Terror. And finally, we have the Shauta combo, otherwise known as the Marine combo. It consists of the Shachi, Orca, Unagi, Eel, and the Taco, Octopus, core metals. The Orca head allows O's to use echolocation to find anything within its range. It shoots high-pressure streams of water. The Unagi whips can be used to wrap up enemies and deliver electric shocks, as seen multiple times at this point. And the Taco legs can stick to any surface and separate into multiple tentacles. This form is also capable of turning into living water to swim faster. It is also stated in the O's novel that the king used this form to generate tsunamis to wipe out neighboring countries. The king sounds badass.
Wait, what is this?
We've heard about the novel before.
I'll be damned. There's a real book. I'll be damned.
Yeah, Jordan has talked about the novel before when he's written in. We've learned some tidbits.
Well, I can't read, so I'm not gonna. Let's not get too far with this, but yeah, it's like a whole crazy backstory thing. Crazy. Jesus. Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, that is cool. It's weird. It's weird, but it just makes sense to do books about the show. Like, it's not that outlandish. It just seems kind of crazy that like there's books tied to the Kamen Rider shows. I
think they just announced another one. I can't remember on what season. but one of the recent seasons, I think Gotchard, there's going to be a novel, I believe is the news that I saw. I don't know. I don't know if people bother to translate those, but that's pretty interesting. Jordan goes on to say, although this form has been shown to create water, i.e. the Shachu head, there's never been an instance where it showed any water bending abilities. My theory is that this form was used in conjunction with Saga Zo, which you'll see is possible if you plan on watching the movie Kamen Rider O's Wonderful, the Shogun, and the 21 core medals. After wrapping up this long email, this form's theme song is shouted out. I also wanted to mention the masterpiece that is the Kamen Rider O's Combo Change Medley, which consists of a remix of all the themes in one. I included the YouTube link if you want to listen to it. Again, I know this email is long, but I've been sitting on it for months, so that's why. See you later. Jordan, thanks very much.
He just stealth drops by and writes his own O's book of O's.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Maybe Jordan wrote the Kamen Rider O's novel that he's now referencing to us, so he just really wants us to know about it. You think?
That'd be cool. if he ghost / real wrote it, and he's trying to sneak some info in here, I'll respect that. We can do this.
Yeah, me too. I'm into it. Yeah, looks like there are other novels as well in other series too. So it's not unheard of, I guess, to have novelizations of the shows. That does seem crazy to me, of all the other stuff that they're doing. Like, they're putting out a show every single week, all year long, every single year. They're putting out all these toys. They're doing all this crazy stuff, doing these extra DVDs and making movies every year, that they're like, whole novels. Let's just put out some novels too. I'm sure that they're short and aimed at younger people, but still, that just seems like such a crazy extra additional piece of work.
They're trying to cover all the movies.
They are, yeah. Full blanket. All right, so that wraps up our emails. Once again, thanks to Shade and to Jordan for the emails this week. You can send emails over to cast@kamenridersucks.com. And that, I think, Toby, brings us to the end of our programming for today. Any final thoughts on O's? Or on O's? Any final thoughts on Gavv?
Oh, I have O's thoughts. Gavv final thoughts is just, there's no way that Pidgey is not a human. And that's going to be the thing.
Locking it in. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on Retro Achievements, the greatest website of all time, it is also Tobes Plays there, too.
You can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol, but to be honest, I've mostly been enjoying my social media free life lately, so I haven't really been anywhere very often, but that's the best place to look for me. You can also find the show on Blue Sky at KamenRiderSucks.com. And of course, please subscribe and like and thumbs up and review the show in all the possible places that you can, be it Spotify or Apple for the podcast or YouTube for the video version. Every little bit of that definitely helps us out. So that is going to wrap us up for this week, talking about Gavv, episode 32. We'll be back next time to talk about episode 33, starting in on a new storyline. And we hope that you join us back for that. But until then, we hope you have a great week, everybody. Peace.